Everything that has happened today has gone by actually pretty quick overall. Flashpoint being able to take a 3-0, Cyclone taking a 3-0, and now we're going into North America to see what these teams have to offer. My name is Gormizer, and joining me for this death segment is going to be none other than Pretty Hair coming through. How are you feeling so far today? I mean, still pretty fast.
So far, so good. Great set there in the first one, despite it being a 3-0.
Yeah.
A little bit more of a 3-0 feeling there in the second set there between Cyclone and could be more of the same. I'm not sure which way this one is going to go out of the gate, but I know how I feel about one of these teams. Anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, I said it earlier today when we were on the desk kind of introing, but like a ton of players that you're going to recognize returning, not all quite on the same team. And I think this set is probably the most showcasing of that there's just so many players. There's so much talent in the console league that was available after the last HRX to be able to come through. And I think on one side, we do have Invictus, which has been a little bit more of an interesting pickup because you do see names like the other Shutter on there.
Yep.
A lot of people who have been around, but most notably, never finding that trip to land, right? This is what these players are really trying to look for towards the end of the season. So what is, I guess, your hopes for Invictus right now?
Well, they have to come together as a team a little bit, right? This is comprised 3 members of Oni-chaners, 2 members of Warm Up, and 1 member from Team Cryptic from last season. So it is going to take a little bit of time to come together and start playing as that unit. They have to get to know each other. I don't know how long they've been playing each other. These console guys, they move from team to team a lot, right? And that it can be a good thing, right? Because in one aspect of that, you have 4 different ways in the past to qualify for a LAN, right?
Yeah.
So you can just kind of flip-flop and take the path of least resistance. But it's a double-edged sword in the fact that these guys, if they're playing with a lot of different people and never really building a lot of synergy with a particular core group of guys, then you might find yourself falling a little bit behind the curve in some aspects.
And with the way things are going, I think we have the maps ready as well. And honestly, you're going to need a lot of things going into your wheelhouse to feel comfortable against the team you are trying to take down. Skeppy, SoldierBot, SJP, players that have been around the block quite a few times, been able to put a couple championships under their belts as well.
For sure.
There's a lot on the line for these teams, but we'll have to go through the set as the way things are going. Map number 1 could be anywhere with the way things are, but I'm still looking at potentially the Ruckus, the way things have been going.
Yeah.
He's been big last set, and I feel like there's a couple players here that are still going to favor that on maybe not Frog Isle, but maybe somewhere else in the set.
Yeah, you've got Whoosh is going to be the dedicated front line for this heating up squad, and SJP is likely to fit into that secondary, that flex front line, where he's going to be the guy that play DPS if they play a triple DPS, but most of the time he will probably be on like an aggro tank.
Yeah.
Ruckus is certainly a great spot for him to fit. I do want to note Miracle, the support for this team, changing his name to Jeff the Raccoon, so know that is Miracle.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
Does have a lot of synergy, with Skeppy playing on that Onslaught roster last season. And we're going to open things up with the Makoa ban.
I mean, admittedly, I think, a lot of the players that we're mentioning, Onslaught, I think even before that, they were on Elevate together. Like, I think a lot of these players have played together in one iteration or another. They have won together in one iteration or another. And whether or not they've all done it in combination, I guess, with the other 5 exactly, doesn't really matter. You got 5 champions sitting on the team. You've got 5 guys that know exactly what they're doing.
It wouldn't surprise me if these players had all played together with each other at some point in the past, but never all at the same time. Torvald, first pick.
And Invictus, I want to say that maybe is a weird opener. It's very solid just because of what Torvald can provide, but it kind of lays everything out on the table, right? You're like, all right, this is what we're going for.
Yeah, it does and it doesn't. It's weird. It's like it does in the fact that obviously we're going to pair something, but what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be Sky. It could be Talus. It could be Koga. It could be Victor, right? You don't really know what it's going to be. And that's why I then say, is this Talus to just get that combination off the table, just to get that, comfort area away from Invictus? Or is this because Talus is actually something, we want and we're going to try and have at this point?
I want to say maybe a little bit of both. Frog Isle is still a weird map. Flanks on this map are usually very... I just want to say uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They don't flank as well as you would like. It's very open. And so Talus is going to have a lot of work cut out for him. And this is why we typically would see, I want to say, like if we were watching Minor League, Premier League, you see a Kinessa, you see a Strix come through. But I feel like we're going to have a little bit more of a brawl coming from these two teams just based on the draft so far.
And what I think, Flashpoint was kind enough to show us is that you don't have to pick a flank with Torvald. You could go Torvald Victor, and that can work out great for you. You could go Torvald Leon. You could do, really anything alongside this pick. Anything that's viable and you feel good about, you're probably going to say, we feel good about with 30% extra damage and 2,000 extra HP every, 6 to 8 seconds as well. Looks like it's going to be the Xin as the chosen one this time around for Invictus to pair with Grandpa.
I'm actually kind of surprised.
Oh, they got it both through the Star Wars skins, dude. High Vizier Torvald and
Max with the...
I can't actually remember. Eben Knight. That is the name of the Xin.
Sure it
Star
is.
Wars, I think. I don't know. No matter what, you have to use, the lightsaber-y sword.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's got to be.
And I feel like we're getting treated here to the SJP Ruckus as well. So a lot that can go right for these teams. Potentially a lot that can go wrong if you're Invictus. You're trying to prove yourself up against a team that, while they might be fresh for this season, it's still going to be an incredible lineup of 5 champions from everywhere. But there's nothing else you can really say about it here. A lot of this is going to come down into game for heating up to prove if they are as good as we think they are, or if Invictus is going to be the underdog, or truly the one dominating the set. To go for it, it's going to have to go to the casters.
Thank you, Gore. Back in the caster booth is Dave. Alongside me is Rain Day. And starting things off on Frog Isle, my favorite map.
It is your favorite map. You got real excited about it. I was excited to see you excited. So there's a lot of excited people right here. And some familiar names, as Nick was mentioning, the other Shutter, Sorrow, Weird Guap, Whoosh, Soldier Bot, Sir James Parker. I mean, all these guys are veterans in our console league.
Absolutely. And an interesting thing, and they pointed this out in picks and bans, but Invictus does snag away the sniper, which is, obviously a big point of contention on maps like this. As you see just huge damage already coming out onto heating up. 3 of their members are 10% or less already, but they're going to rotate around and get a little bit of healing here. Nobody falling just as of yet, but they're not in a great spot. Whoosh dropping first off the bat, heating up, losing this initial team fight. Is Ghost is just ripping through everyone right now, and Shutter adding one on his own, Sorrow adding one, Calamity adding one, heating up, just gets sweeped right off the bat.
This man walked into a nightclub with his underwear on, and that's it. And he had his chin up high. I've never seen a more confident, feeling himself kind of play from TKO. He has not slowed down. He went all the way to the back line, used his whirl to get there. I mean, this is an absolute just dominant performance from TKO. We were talking about a lot of other players when we started into this, but the Xin needs to be stopped right now. 1,100 damage per Yomi swing, that's not fair.
And this is why I love Frog Isle so much, because it rewards players who play aggressively like this. You see him getting in the back line there, taking out the Damba.
No fear.
Soldier Bot does answer with one back onto Shutter, and finally getting dropped is Ghost. But I just love seeing that aggressive play out of him, and I think that bodes well for this Invictus lineup starting off here.
And you know what? It either bodes well, or the other version is that what happens if they shoot at him early on? I mean, he got a lot of freedom. So I am worried that this could be a strategy that doesn't always work now that Invictus, heating up can react to it. But there's still an opportunity for the Xin, especially if he gets those Torvald bubbles consistently, to just be too much damage for them to deal with. But you can already see the pressure building, Dave. It's not as easy as it was before.
And he's right until he's wrong. That's, I guess, a good way of saying it. And he started off right, but could be going wrong here as he gets Commander's grab back into the rest of the team, but keeping himself healthy, and in the meantime dropping Whoosh on the backside. So despite getting put in a precarious spot, he's going to keep pouring out damage here, but he's going to walk around the corner to a Ruckus, which is not what you want to see. Soldier Bot does get dropped on the backside, as well as the Vivian. So heating up can't seem to find their stride here on this final push.
And what you're seeing is why teams do not like Frog Isle in general. It's this ability to just get overwhelmed so much that the game's 2-0. Even if, 2-0 you can come back from it, it's not a place you ever want to try to purposefully put yourself in, because it does mean that you're one bad push away from losing the game and going down in the set. But all the damage in the world coming through from Destronite and SJP, they hold things solid here, and they're now able to zone heating up back.
They are going to zone them. Invictus right back into the back of their base. Soldier Bot picks up a double kill. They only got 26 seconds left. You think they probably got time for one last sort of push at this one. They got 100% on 3 of their ultimates. 2 of them not even close. Won't come up realistically in the last part of this game, heating up with 2 ultimates of their own. About 10 seconds left here. Interesting to see how much they decide to invest. Oh, nice convergence coming out. Pulls a few of them together, but the follow-up isn't there, and it is. Destro Knight drops initially, but there is a fight going off on the backside that needs to be addressed. TKO Ghost can't really seem to decide where he wants to focus. SoldierBot cleans up Calamity, but the other Shutter answers one back onto SoldierBot, so that's 2 losses for each team, and Invictus does have the longer walk back here.
Nice Commander's grab as well. Throws Ash into the air and back down. The billow comes through from Zen. 3 strikes left. Is he going to reload, or he's just going to go for it? This last strike could get the kill. He misses it on the Damba, whirls in aggressively, and now he's put himself in a bit of a quandary. SJP sees him, and there's the shield. Defended successfully, so that one's not going to work out for Heating Up, unfortunately, but a great set of plays throughout the entire round by TKO Ghost.
And this is what we talked about right off the bat, is how aggressive he was. I mean, he just dashes and billows into 3 members of the Heating Up lineup, and it did pay off for him, of course, in that instance, and they were able to grab that first point, but couldn't really replicate that success going down the stretch there.
And that's the most worrisome thing, that you win so hard and you still can't push. And then it doesn't work. It just feels like, you know, if I ever am playing like a Genos or something and I hit a through time and space, get a triple kill, and then we barely win the point fight, I'm like, that was with me as a support getting a triple kill. What happens if I don't? And that's what maybe is making me think that this is a tighter game in reality than what we saw in the initial fight there.
Jeff the Raccoon, such a satisfying thing going back to base, spending every single one of your credits. He had 0.
I thought you were going to say being a raccoon.
Being a raccoon,
Dave, what experience in life do you have?
He is a raccoon, just like Rocket, Guardians of the Galaxy. He's not a cat or whatever he gets called all the time.
There you go.
See a bunch of players getting launched back here. TKO Ghost trying to replicate that same level of aggression from that first point push, but not really able to find his stride here on this second half. He is going to find Vivian around the corner here, and that is going to be his target, at least at the moment. They're going to have a little bit of a dash, 1-to-1 here, but Vivian does have some support. The Sentinels do go down. TKO Ghost falls as a result of his aggression there. You did see the Damba ult come on the back end of that fight as well.
And so many different things are happening here that didn't happen in the last round, and Heating Up just like that are now in control. And you think about it, the Kinessa, she doesn't die last round, and now she's dead early. That's a difference maker, but why? Talus also has the true power. He can get across Frog Isle without taking any risk. Just go straight to Kinessa. That's a whole level of pressure they didn't have to deal with in the first round.
And you know, Kinessa's good on this map, but only when you're alive. You can only be as helpful as you are when you're actually out on the map fighting. You do see Hexafire coming out, but Kinessa has something to say about it, and she's going to clean up the ruckus right through the pillars there, and with overtime ticking away, Heating Up at 99%, but this Kinessa's going to have something to say about it. Not before SoldierBot gets a double kill, and Destro Knight adds one of his own, so Heating Up able to find some respite between those Kinessa shots and grab the second point here.
You know, went for the ult that could try to save the world there. I mean, if she would have gotten maybe 3 kills off of it, maybe she teleports on the point and can, you know, 1v1. It's still most likely just going to be the win for Heating Up. And you can see now SoldierBot, you know, SJP, these guys starting to get going, and it is not looking strong for Invictus to hold on to this pressure. Maybe that's why they started out so strong here and so aggressive, because they didn't want this moment to occur.
And Kinessa was the target of that ultimate coming in from the Talos, but wasn't able to clean it up, and instead Kinessa finds Whoosh on the backside, so Khan dropping very early on here for Heating Up, and Destro Knight is the target of a lot of Invictus pressure right now, but he's going to be able to get back. The Ruckus is going to be able to escort him back into the back of his base, and you know, this is kind of where we saw Invictus get stalled out last game, is right where Heating Up is getting stalled right now. Neither team really able to find their presence really on these pushes. It
is a hard time to push at Frog Isle, especially. This is where if you have any type of damage, any type of long-range pressure, it can be really hard to get that pick and then move forward. You could look at maybe a Commander's grab. You could look at maybe an aggressive or an early overpower from Khan to try and isolate one of these front lines. Sorrow's looking like she could be in a good position. But you just buy your time. Maybe SoldierBot will win you this 1v1, and you won't have to do anything overcommittal.
They do have plenty of time, so it's not something you need to rush right now. You see Sir James Park, he drops his Sorrow. Hexafire is down here, but he's doing a good job of supporting the Heating Up, or the Heating Up cast right now. He's zoning off Invictus, keeping them back in their base, and as a result, the payload is going to be able to make it around the corner. You see damage dealt, though. The Zen and the Kinessa leading the charts right now. 45 seconds left on this payload push.
And I bet a lot of that is just the stagnant damage that just runs with Yomi, comes with Kinessa being able to shoot at people. And a lot of that was the first round as well, where it was just absolute adjustment needed to be made. Unfortunately, on Calamity, even if he had the time, the ability to push everyone away out of the contest range, he just wouldn't have had the time. His health was slowly falling, turning into kind of fast falling, and then they're incredibly free falling as he just could not sustain against this pressure. But TKO Ghost, for whatever reason, has been able to buy some time and at least hold them back for now. Soldier Bot could be an aggressive play. He's got the true power ready. Does he go for it and try to just stall overtime?
Doesn't look like he's going to. He's going to drop back. Heating Up are going to take, or Invictus rather, are going to take their second point here onto Frog Island. And this is one reason I like Frog Island, is that you don't really get a whole lot of in-betweens. Here's the beautiful shots here from Kinessa, dropping the Hexafire from the Ruckus. He probably got, what did you say, 2 seconds worth of damage out of that before falling on the backside. But Frog Isle is such an interesting map in that sometimes we'll see, and I guess this is true for any map, but this map especially is really conducive to either a 4-0 sweep or a lot of contention in the middle, and we are seeing neither team able to find success just yet on their payload pushes.
Going to take some time, especially with Invictus adding the Havens into their item selection here. Heating Up, going more for the Cauterize, a little bit of the Chronos, and the morale boost for Jeff the Raccoon. So getting that ultimate back online, but nearly every single player on the side of Invictus investing into Haven, into that damage reduction. Team-wide, that will decrease their time to kill. At least that's what they're hoping for. Big shot for the other shutter to start it off, and there's a Hyper Beam. It's going to get Khan most likely. He is off the map, and that is a good start for this fight.
So the Khan dropping very early. That's a lot of pressure that you do not want on your side, and do not want off your side, rather. But Palace here, the ultimate coming out, getting him in the face. He's doing damage. He is able to clean up the kill through the Saris healing, but he is going to go low on the backside. Now he has to deal with his Zen, and he is unable to. So both teams kind of trading back and forth right now. Not one of them really able to grab the upper hand, but you could say Invictus is, because they're on the point and they have 72% in climbing here.
Guess who's got that ult charged up? It's Maldamba. It's Jeff the Raccoon. He's got that morale boost, and now he has the Dread Serpent, and he's going to be aggressive just to use it in the right angle. He gives up his immunity, but he's going to have it back right now, so he is safe in case anybody tries to dive. TKO Ghost lands onto the point, and look at that. Just a little bit of healing from the Dambas, keeping Sir James Parker back up, and now he's full able to pressure out where to Guap, and this could be bad. The Hexafire setting it up, Dave. Oh, no.
And he is going in, finds a double kill off of the Hexafire, beautifully using his positioning, but he's not done yet. He wants to zone out this Invictus lineup. He wants to make sure that they don't have a chance to get a touch on this point, and it looks like he's going to be able to do just that. I think Heating Up here is poised to take their third point of this map. But the Zen, as I say that, dashes in, gets a touch, but he's going to dash himself right back out. Maybe just a little bit of delay here. The overtime counter is going really low. Gets another touch here, so Ghost beautifully touching, balancing his time here on the point, but he is going to fall as a result, and Woosh doing a good job of zoning out. Now he has an Ashe to deal with. She's one of the tankier champions here, and she is going to fall as well. Now Sir James Parker going huge. Ruckus finding a double. So kills getting traded back and forth here, but Heating Up looks like they're going to find the upper hand.
It was an awesome showcase of his finesse, his flexibility, his athleticism as Zen, but it was unfortunate. They didn't have anything to back it up with. Kinessa's so good at creating the pressure as Heating Up go up 3-2 here, but when she doesn't have the pressure, she's trying to steal it back. That's where she suffers. If you had a Leon, a Vivian, somebody like a Victor coming in at that moment where he could just free fire so much damage going at a target who's not looking at him, maybe that would have been different, but the Kinessa just couldn't set up, couldn't get her shots. Soldier Bot's been really patient and very on task of making sure the other shutter feels like he doesn't have a moment of respite.
And we saw that perfectly right there. The true power coming out, not wasting a single moment. He doesn't need to delay for the team fight to start up. He's going to start it up on his own, but Sara is going to be a force to be reckoned with here. He's really just being annoying, and he is going to throw down the banner, grant himself some of that immunity. He's going to get out just briefly, but Ghost is going huge on this Talus right now, and Talus is going to fall on the backside. Ghost is going to get himself out, but no, he's behind this Khan. I don't think the Khan knows, and he doesn't. Spite launches up the Khan, so Woosh dropping now, Heating Up, losing 2 of their members, and they're going to have to try to back off here with 1.5 minutes left.
And I'm pretty sure that was a missed over. Oh, no, he couldn't quite get it off. I feel like maybe he was trying to go into the animation. Good counter, and he's going to get healed right back up there. A little bit of that splash healing from Saris is going to help a Zen and Billow. He can just Billow near the person getting healed, which is very, very helpful that they added that in this last season of Paladins. But he's getting a little aggressive here. I'm not sure I like this world. He doesn't have Billow as well. If they turn around and somehow collapse onto him, and he gets the kill, so he's fine. That could have been a bit risky.
But you did see the turn come right out there. He is able to get himself out alive, but you know, if Heating Up start to figure this out and realize that a little bit sooner, that could spell trouble there for the Zen. Where to Guap does find a kill onto Ruckus, so that's 2 tanks down now for Heating Up. Going to stall this out a little bit. You figure with 40 seconds left, they probably have time for 1 or 2 more big team fights here, but not a lot of utility coming up for either side. You figure Invictus will have 3 of their ultimates up, maybe 2 on the side of Heating Up to get into this last fight here, but with 30 seconds left, Heating Up's got an uphill battle.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the ability for these players to just interact in multiple ways in these matchups, because, you know, not every matchup is cut and dry. You attack her, she loses to you. It's like if you attack her here, she might win. If you attack her here, she might lose, and that's especially careful and important when you're discussing a sniper. And at this point, it looks like Heating Up have found a way to at least pressure her out enough, but is that going to knock off SoldierBot? No, he's able to stay alive, gets the heal back up. This overtime is a dangerous spot, because right now with Sorrow falling, that's Invictus's main front tank. What are they going to do?
And you know what really turned the tide, at least at the beginning of this fight, was the Zen getting overly aggressive and dropping, and that opened things up for Heating Up to start this push. And yet again, you see the Zen on the backside. He is going to be able to get himself out safely, at least for the moment, but Heating Up has the upper hand, at least at the second, but you got to remember the respawn advantage is there for Invictus. They got to be able to win a clean team fight and push it through this Heating Up. So Sir James Parker not able to help his team push things through, so Invictus able to stall things out just long enough to get those respawns in. 3-3 here on Frog Isle.
And what's really allowing this to happen this way is SJP loving the Ruckus and being good at the Ruckus, but look at that, 12-4. He's not giving up a lot of deaths just to be on the point. This is an Inara who's 1-6, but who's done the job of making sure that payload's always got pressure on it. And Whoosh is not really a great point tank by himself. Khan is a good secondary tank, but if you say a Khan versus Inara on the point, that Khan better have like a pocket Ceres, you better have a pocket Solar Blessing Fury that never misses. I mean, it's a very min-maxy thing, and Ashe in general is just a lot tankier than those other two. So if they can get Sorrow down early, I feel like Heating Up will have no problem taking this last point.
And you do see Jeff the Raccoon cleaning up his Haven 3, so he's going to have some respite from a lot of those auto attacks, but you see Haven 2, Haven 3 getting brought online for all of the Invictus lineup now, so it is going to be harder to clean some of them up, but TKO Ghost going real low here regardless, luckily having that Torvald shield in his back pocket assisting him, keeping him alive, at least for the moment. Neither team wanting to give up too much right now, but where to Guap does drop SoldierBot. Calamity answering with one on to Jeff the Raccoon, and Sorrow helping his team clean up this fight, and now they have the zone advantage.
But it was so clean, and that's almost the problem. It was as if they reset accidentally, because they all got killed whether they liked it or not, and now they're coming back as a full 5-man crew. Can anyone touch the true power from Talus? That's going to guarantee it, because you can't capture the objective, but he misses. That means that the Ceres goes into shadow travel most likely so that he cannot find her, and that does mean that there's going to be some pressure to get onto that point, and 99%, 96, Whoosh finally makes it back.
So both teams are going to end up utilizing all their ultimates here. I mean, this is it. This is do or die for both teams, especially with 27% on the side of Heating Up. A clean team fight win means most likely a taken point, and then 96% on the other end. You see Whoosh picking up a great double kill. That's Ghost falling. That's Kinessa falling. That's SoldierBot picking up a kill here. So Heating Up doing what they need to do. 63% and climbing. No time left on the clock. They need to get a touch, and they need to get it now, but if the zone proves strong enough, they're not going to get a chance.
And it certainly will. I do not see a way they're able to get back unless those Zen mechanics make it, and no, they can't. Nope. Even with the best Zen min-max movement, Heating Up take the victory there. It was pretty impressive to see.
So a bit of a slobber knocker there. Both teams going toe-to-toe with each other, and, you know, despite them coming out with the victory there, just neither team really seemed like they were head and toes above the other.
Yeah, I think it was really a battle of wits there, because both compositions could succeed if they just found their ways to succeed more frequently. It just at the end of that last fight, couldn't quite zone it out. I think they wiped, unfortunately, Heating Up a little too cleanly. They were able to come back as 5. That almost hurt them more than it helped.
They fought too well, and instead...
Sometimes it happens, you know?
Right. It does happen from time to time. But that is going to be it for us, at least on the caster end. We are going to throw it to our desk to break down game number 1. Here's Gore and Pretty Hair.
The perfect word for that was slobber knocker. I think that's a really good way to describe it. I think you nailed it on the head, because, I mean, a lot of that goes back and forth. But I think the first thing I'm going to point out was the fact that Skeppy wasn't there. Skeppy was actually subbed out. Dexter Knight was
wasn't
playing
there
in
to take
for
me
him.
to the fair.
And so, you know, you're not playing quite with your full roster. You're still able to take game one, so it feels pretty comfortable. We have the post-game stats with the way things went. And admittedly, I think a lot of these numbers are going to look pretty similar.
It's huge, man. It's, he's regarded as one of the top players in the entire console scene. He's played a lot of different champions for a lot of different teams. He's had a lot of success, been to damn near every single LAN, even winning a couple along the way. So not having Skeppy in game number one, but still being able to win. That's the important thing for me. So if they can win with their sub, they're in a damn good spot in this set. Skeppy, he'll be here later, I've heard, but for now they got to deal with what they've got to deal with, right? Destronite does fine there, absolutely serviceable. Those are never shoes you're going to fill. I don't think you gotta just get in there and try to be serviceable. To get in there and try to do what Skeppy has done is definitely setting the bar, I think, a little too high for yourself.
And honestly, coming in and just being able to play at level, right? Being able to be on par with everybody in the game, especially on a team like this where it's just 5 huge champions in the league, it's going to do a lot. And Destronite was doing a ton in terms of being able to kind of stay impactful in this game, even though Vivian, I mean, admittedly, in my mind, I don't think of Vivian as the most
That's such
impactful.
a Vivian play right there,
and
dude.
between him and SJP, you just literally hold down left click every now and then, maybe hit right click, and you get the kills.
Down, man. I loved it. I loved it there. That was a good one. He had one moment for me, one sub-aim moment for me in that game where Zin got in his face and he was just kind of like, oh, goodness gracious. And I was like, this Zin is still dying. And I don't know. And then I saw Sir James Parker pop up in the kill film. I'm like, okay, SJP's got his back.
And that's the teamwork. Like, I mean, Destronite is not unknown to these players. They play with him all the time. So being able to pick him up, that's perfect. The other thing that really caught my eyes is the fact that TKO, the Zen, was doing phenomenally at the very beginning and at the very end. In the middle, got very murky for them. That's, I think, why the team didn't dominate as much as they did. But that first point fight was literally pretty much all him. That last one, it looked really good.
And it has to be,
and then just kind of tripped.
That's the way those Torvald comps work. They have to be all whatever pick he's pocketing, right? You know what I mean? So he has to be good the whole way through.
Well, we have maps for map number 2 coming up. So Frog Isle was first, Jaguar Falls, similar theme, different kind of layout overall. And I'm actually excited to see this. It's interesting to see a team like Invictus when you ban like a Stone Keep and a Serpent Beach, you have Bright Marsh banned away. Like, you whittle down the typical maps very, very fast.
Yeah, you definitely do.
And so Frog Isle, Jag Falls immediately. Then you start running out of places to go. Like, you're starting to look, okay, where do we go for map 3 if this doesn't go our way?
I want a Warder's Gate just for kind of my own, my own knowledge here. And I don't know how they're going to play. I don't know if it'll be the same as the minor league. Things have been the same about the minor league here in the console league, and things have not been the same. It's really kind of been a set-to-set thing. The Grok pit ban is certainly interesting, and I'm wondering where they're going to go with this. Usually, when you ban a pip, that means we're going to pick something that's kind of death volley and kind of punished by Evil Mojo and just general AoE pressure.
You are
but first pick Vivian
here.
Doesn't necessarily mean death ball outright, but it is certainly an important part of that that type of composition.
And it's funny because when I think death ball personally, one of the first names that comes up on my list would probably be Grok. Like, he's involved usually somehow just for the turret, or for his, I guess, turret healing overall, being able to come through, but not being able to come that up. You get Genos, you get Saris.
This is weird.
So double healer, that Genos is not playing support in any way. He's playing Luminary, and he's playing, I'm going to shoot you from the side while I boost everybody's damage.
Binary? I don't know, man.
If they go Binary Star,
Could be binary. I don't know. This is kind of weird.
Just the way it works.
I don't know how I feel about this out of the gate. I want to see what they round it out with. There's still like a Ruckus left. There's still Ashe open for Invictus' front line, but right now I definitely feel a little bit better about heating up, who are now doing equally as weird of stuff. I don't get it.
You see 2 supports and you answer with 2 supports. That's the only way to do it. Ying Maldamba. The only difference I'll give, I mean, Maldamba can be a stun machine, but he doesn't have the same buff. And the same thing kind of goes for Ying. Like, she can do a lot, but I don't think it's going to apply as much as Genos does here. Khan, Barrack lining it up.
I don't know, man.
How are you feeling about Invictus' lineup and, I guess, whatever heating up pick for their last one?
They don't have a ton of damage, and I think it could have been a very easily punished lineup, but heating up is doing some weird funny business here as well. Maybe this is like a focusing lens Ying. If I'm
Mess with a
I don't know.
You'll get
I'm a little bit lost here. In both of these compositions, to be completely honest with you. I don't love either of them.
Yeah.
I don't love either of them.
Honestly?
I don't even really hate one less.
Yeah, no, they're both coming out, and they both have just enough oddities, I guess, overall. The double support is really, I think, what's throwing me. I personally, I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Genos just because of the damage boost and a Vivian Barret con. Like, I think that is going to be the thing that makes or breaks, but Invictus have a lot to prove. They're down 1-0 as of right now. Heating up are coming back into this. I believe, again, Destronite playing this game instead of Skeppy, so they have a little bit more to prove for themselves as well, but it is going to be Jaguar Falls. It's going to be Talus versus Vivian, and that is going to be up for your casters figured out. Go ahead and take it away, Dave and Rainday.
So, Evan, casters hate this one quick trick to fool them every time, and it is picking lineups that are super weird. And you see Jenna Saris coming out for one side. You see Talus on the other side is really, I mean, you have the Makoa damage, but super weird, at least coming out of the gates here in my eyes.
Very, but I thought you were like clickbaiting me on a YouTube video
I was. That's
or a
exactly,
BuzzFeed article.
I was going for that exactly.
Casters
so
hate this one trick that throws them off. Find out more.
And, you know, that's exactly what I was going for. So I'm glad that you picked that one up.
Casters hate it.
Casters do hate it, but TKO Ghost, you saw him on the Zen last game. They love it. They love confusing the casters because that oftentimes means they're confusing their opponent.
Well,
so it'll be interesting to see how these play out.
And this is actually something that you would need a little bit of history on, and I can understand why at surface level it is a little odd. But SoldierBot himself has often flexed onto this like secondary DPS that is a healer in the oftentimes, and on this map specifically, where Genos has been available, been viable. Because Genos, if you do play him with Binary Star, which is what is being selected right now, can do just about as much damage as nearly any other hit scan support. Maybe not as bursty, but in the same way, very bursty in itself. He's going to be setting people up. He's going to be getting damage reduction and running away. He's going to be providing secondary healing, which in this type of sustained meta is valuable. He's going to be able to take 1v1s, which is what he wants to do. He's done this before, and it seems to be working right now.
On the backside, though, it's not getting his team. At least it's not entirely his fault, but their team is not finding the same amount of point pressure. But they are now going to find that same amount of point pressure. Maybe I should just say bad things about them, and then they'll win every single time that I say something like that. So you do see Sir James Parker double kill there from him, and heating up does end up taking the point after what was a slow start there.
Yeah, and they, you know, I think in this type of style, this is where they win because their sustain is going to be stronger naturally with two supports. So the ability for Invictus to try to make these fights last a little longer typically is going to go in their favor. But heating up, they have two supports too, and they have a little bit more damage, actually a lot more damage than Damba and Ying. So even though there's more healing on the side of Invictus, if they can't get any kills, it's going to be difficult. That's the through time and space that you would have loved to see some value from, and they definitely got it. Sir James Parker, Jeff the Raccoon, clean up 3, and that is the objective capture. Can we take a look at the damage charts as well, just to see how these supports are keeping pace? And wouldn't you know it, Genos beating Vivian.
You know what? I swallow my words immediately 2 minutes into this game. You know, that's something I've never seen before, so I imagine anyone who's never seen it before was probably just as confused as I was, but Genos leading the damage charts here and, you know, providing such huge amounts of utility as well. You know, his entire kit provides utility to his team. You know, you got the healing, you got the grasp. I mean, all of that on top of the damage he can provide makes a good pick.
Well, what's so interesting is that we've seen other players, most famously on this map, Swiper the One, actually use Saris in the same position. He would run Soul Collector, and he would basically be a main DPS. He would not really be healing. He would go into the back line, use movement speed in his loadout cards, and basically gain movement speed and just frag out. I mean, Saris wins 1v1s because she does decent damage and she can full heal herself in the 1v1, which most other damage dealers can't. So it ends up working out in the end, and that's kind of why Paladins can be a little wonky sometimes with these types of drafts.
And SoldierBot picks up 3 kills for himself in that fight, and it's almost funny watching the Genos as a damage dealer because it's just the slow but steady auto attacks, and that's why, you know, you have to probably choose who you play it on, because if you're accurate, you can deal damage. And he's shredding this Makoa here, and he just grasps up the Talus in that last fight and cleans it up. I think he had 3 kills at the end of that last fight, so doing a great job, at least off the start. And Calamity falling very early on here. Damba Ultimate is up and available if he wants to use it. The Sentinels are out, adding damage to Destronite's damage on top of what he normally does. And they are starting to roll through Invictus here. The wall, buying them a little bit of respite just for a moment, with the Inara soon to follow, and she is. And now they just need to zone them out, and this payload will get pushed through. Makoa going low as well. Nice Dread Serpent catches 3 fears on the backside of that fight, but is it going to be enough? It at least initially doesn't look like it is, and I don't think it will be, and Heating Up is well on their way to point number 2.
My only thought is that if that didn't actually... I mean, he does have his Ancient Rage, so they must have just agreed that it's better to die versus not using it.
Right.
And because the first time that happened, you know, he tries to get it off but can't. Luckily, he doesn't take the cooldown. But the big thing is that they are not able to make any defensive stand. And that to me is almost like, mentally, are they thrown a little bit here?
Right, and you know, you see the slash lines out. It's got to be at least slightly tilting in the position that you're at. You know, you're all of Invictus, 1 kill each. You know, Calamity not finding one just yet. So, you know, having a weird lineup played against you and then having it work out in such a hot way.
Yeah.
Has got to be slightly annoying. You see streaks on every single member of Heating Up here, and Ultimate soon to be coming up. Invictus, I think, needs to be very careful that this doesn't snowball too much further out of their control.
Oh, I mean, the Slither hasn't been used yet, but I mean, this is a through time and space that I would have gone for. Finds one. Where to Guap? Well, at least he knows where the base is. He's gone back there as a result. 18 streak for Soldier Bot, looking to be 19 as the Inara is melting under the pressure of the Binary Star.
The Binary Star, Soldier Bot, looking like an aimbot right now, hitting every single one of his shots, sending people back to base left and right, and honestly, some of it just makes me speechless. I'm not gonna. I've never seen this before, and I did not expect to see this here today, but he's making it work so well, and this is obviously something that they've rehearsed. If we do see a fight starting to break out, Invictus is not going to give it up. The Ancient Rage coming out. Sir James Parker falling on the backside of that fight. They are going to push Heating Up back. The hook does connect onto the Genos. That's who you want it on, but if you're not able to clean it up, it doesn't matter, but they do clean it up, so TKO goes. Double kill there. Invictus find their first point here.
And it doesn't mean that Invictus can't get an Ancient Rage and win the fight no matter what. I mean, I don't care how good your supports are, how much they're fragging, 30, 40 streaks. It just doesn't challenge Makoa at the end of the day, and they find some value off of it finally. And, you know, that's what's so weird about this set. There have been so many little moments where it's like, if the Zen does this, yeah, they're going to dominate. If the Makoa gets great Ancient Rages, if the Inara can somehow skirt around these high-pressure damage moments that are coming from not only the Genos, but the Khan and the Vivian, they'll be fine, but they haven't done it consistently. So Heating Up has really been the more consistent performer in this match, even though they've been trying a lot weirder things, in my opinion.
And that's, you know, that's obviously why you pick a Makoa. He has the ability to change a team fight, but not when he's off the map. He just gets heaved by the Khan, one of the more satisfying ultimates to see. So that's a Makoa who's down at least at the beginning of this fight. Inara soon to follow. Destro Knight now pushing back into the lineup of the Invictus side. Talus going low. Talus is going to fall, and there's just something so funny about the overpower that then turns into just a heave off the side of the map to start things off.
Well, I have this, so it does 500 damage when you land, and in Paladins, there is a skybox, which you cannot throw someone higher than that, and it will act as a wall. So it actually do the damage in the sky as well, because of the velocity you throw them at, you will hit the skybox. So I had a Khan the other day who would just grab me, and at about 400 health, he would just always just throw me into the skybox, and I'd die that way. Like, he could have just let his teammates continue to kill me, but he had to finish me throwing me in the skybox.
It's not as satisfying.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to meme. I've had Cons pick me up and then jump off the map with me while they're still holding me, do a little Kirby Smash Bros action. You know, there's so many ways. It really is a meme waiting to happen.
And you do see the ultimate getting charged up so fast here for this Khan, so he is going to be able to do it again if he wants to. He tried to get back on. Calamity not finding it, so Heating Up, able to stall things out here after what was the point fight was a little bit back and forth, but obviously didn't go in their favor. But Heating Up, finding their stride again here on this defensive side.
I mean, obviously, that is missing. You just the grapple and Paladins. We don't have one.
Right.
And, I mean, it could be pretty cool. It could be pretty cool.
Pretty neat. I mean, you kind of have it with the Grover, but not quite the same.
But not quite like where you get that, like, swing up and down.
Right.
I think there's, when you saw that hook and I saw that just the way that could, there's potential to augment that thing.
Design team, take note.
But yeah, I mean, I guess you really do have it. You really do have it in Grover, but there's potential. There's potential for more.
But what does matter is that Heating Up has stalled things out here again. That Inara wall proving to be pretty pesky for this Invictus lineup. Not really able to find their way through, but they have a lot of very low targets here, and they are going to end up getting cleaned up. Destro Knight finding a double kill there, and It was almost a weird final fight, kind of non-committal on both ends. You saw
totally.
a lot of low targets, nobody really wanting to invest too much, and heating up wins because of it.
And this was Woosh kind of getting caught off guard. I mean, he was looking at the point still. They were under the gun as far as the pressure on the objective. Here's a little bit of a different Talus loadout from TKO Ghost, which is a lot more lifesteal-based and Evanescent-based. We saw Transient 5 in the last loadout we were watching, but now Evanescent, Primeval Might, these are the cards being prioritized here. Still Guts 5, but mixing it up with a little bit more movement speed and the lifesteal.
And the streaks on the side of heating up is exactly where we saw them at the end of the last round.
It's almost like nothing changed.
You know, Invictus did win the point fight, which shut down a lot of those streaks, but
Yeah.
now you got 6, 9, 8, 23 streak here on Jeff the Raccoon. That's Saris just being a thorn in the side and just really proving that it's going to be hard to deal with this lineup, especially when, you know, it is weird, but it's obviously something they've practiced. TKO Ghost, here comes through time and space, does not find their target, but Invictus up to a 62% and climbing on the point.
And the timing was off there. At every round, I think they found a kill off of Soldier Bot, or at least found some big damage off of Soldier Bot's ult, and it didn't happen this round. And now they lose SJP, and look at that, they didn't even touch the point. They were really hoping to find some value, but man, that hit! Quadra kill from TKO Ghost, whether delayed or not, I don't know, but that was everyone dead in a matter of seconds.
And that seismic crash hit just who you wanted to in that moment. You have the Barrack coming in, and, you know, I'm not sure if it would have made a difference or not. The Barrack would have fallen, and the rest of the team was still respawning, but just able to stall those kills and stall those deaths out enough to get themselves the point here. So Invictus Gaming not going to go down without a fight here as they find their second point on this map, and they're just putting out so much pressure even still. Sir James Parker adding one, Destro Knight adding one, but heating up, dropping a few in the meantime as well. So great things here from both teams to kind of slow things down.
And that overpower was really to slow it down. Just to say, you guys are actually pushing us. You're about halfway through. You got Makoa on the ledge. You can find a couple of kills, tie this game up with a good Ancient Rage. I'm just going to act preemptively and throw you off the map. And now they've settled it down. They've wasted about 20, 25 seconds, but they're still in not a very good spot. Let's put it that way. It is not a hopeful spot if you are heating up, because you've seen your strategy now not work 2 points in a row. And I'm starting to get a little scared for them. I'm not sure if this is a late-game composition that can sustain. The way Invictus have responded, it is looking strong that they may be able to take this game.
And this is where we saw them stall out last time as well. They weren't really able to find that fight. They basically didn't commit to anything there towards the end of the game, and it ended up being their downfall. You do see them getting a little bit more aggressive here. They found the opening with Whoosh going down, but 300 health and climbing now for this Makoa, going to keep himself safe, but they do have heating up pinned into the back of their base, at least at the moment. That Inara wall is going to be a big piece of utility. They need to get a touch. Are they going to be able to? But they can't quite get through the wall. And they are able to push it through, so 3-3 here, going to come down to one final point fight yet again.
Unbelievable. I mean, Sorrow, such a pain for heating up. They can't burst the Sonara down fast enough. All the damage in the world can't really do it. We saw that in the first set with Flashpoint, and for the family, that Inara is just undyable. But right here, unkillable, excuse me, undying, if you want to use another word, that's also an actual word.
He did get the Quadra, not delayed. He got it officially.
TKO. We just couldn't hear it.
Right.
100k damage for Soldier Bot. That's impressive by itself. But these fights aren't going fast enough for heating up. They need to speed this up somehow.
And now, I like to keep talking about these streaks. Now you see it flip to the other side, and especially in a spot where Invictus found themselves stalled out on the first side, they were able to finally very fully commit to a fight there at the end of the last game and grab themselves some momentum going into this final fight.
6%. He has the true power available. He may want to set this up. He gets Void Grip, though. That is bad. Forced to Rune of Travel back. And now he activates the overcharge. He's got some damage reduction, but is it enough? Oh no, Soldier Bot decides he wants him dead. And so he goes down. He has a through time and space opportunity here as well. There's many people lined up. He might have vision. I think he does. He does half the damage on Inara, and that's just not what you want to see.
It's not what you want to see. Something is something rather than you missing it. But now you have an Ancient Rage Makoa getting into your face. So 84% in climbing here for Invictus Gaming, doing a beautiful job of cleaning things up here. And they are going to clean things up here officially on Jaguar Falls. So what was a slow start from them turns into a huge win for Invictus.
It was kind of surprising how fast things got out of hand. And I mean, you could kind of see it after the second point fight in a row, and you said, wait a second, this lineup was working a lot. Now it's not working at all. Has it run out of gas? Feels like that was what happened.
it does kind of seem that way. And I think the turning point really was that, I think it was the second point fight where Invictus won and they were able to get the point pushed through.
Right.
Because that's where they really stalled out against Heating Up on the first side, was that push that was unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Heating Up was able to slow it down enough.
They were.
But Invictus Gaming grabs the victory here in map number 2. To further break it down, we're going to send it back to the desk. Here's Pretty Hair and Gormizer.
Thanks so much, Dave and Rain Day. So much started out looking really, really solid for Heating Up. And again, it's a weird draft from both teams. You're going for the Yeet Snake Maldamba and the Binary Star Genos. Like, there's different styles of play that are coming into it, and it's just like, who adapts better?
Yeah, definitely. And items starting to come online have a little bit of an effectiveness. Early on, you're seeing that loadout specifically run by the Genos, right? When he's giving himself a 250 HPS self-heal, that's very difficult to fight into, especially when Soldier Bot is hitting the types of shots that he's already hitting. Evan mentioned a lot. They were getting a lot of initial picks off of the through time and space, and that's a very easy way to get things going in a composition that is otherwise, not so bursty and maybe struggles a little bit to get that initial pick off. And once those picks from time and space stopped coming through, these fights got a lot more difficult.
And you can see, I mean, the damage. You were actually doing the numbers, the damage per clip that a Binary Star Genos can do. But I mean, just look at the number right there. I mean, he was the only one who breaks 100,000.
It's actually a ton.
Played really well, and it did come down to when he hit his ults and they got a kill, team fight was easy. When they didn't, everything fell apart, and I think it was kind of hit or miss like that when it comes down to it. There's James Parker, 11-4, Destro Knight's 11-6, and he's 12-3 there for Soldier Bot on Genos. So a lot of really good things, but it just didn't hold out towards the end. I think the double support Inara on the point fight towards the end of it really just led to Invictus being able to control it.
Better ults. They had a better suite of ultimates, right? They had Seismic Crash, they had Dread Serpent, they had Ancient Rage. They had so many ways to not only counter-initiate fights, but most of the time initiating fights, right? Because when you're looking at time and space, that was really all they had. They could have overpowered something off. They had to get that free pick to then get the snowball rolling a little bit. And when that free pick didn't come, the rest of the team fight did not fall into place.
So this is the second time that I have seen Stun Machine Maldamba. The first time was run by Bitey, in the minor league qualifiers 2 weeks ago. This was a different take on Maldamba, normally not even a champion that we see often on console, so it's surprising to see him picked up so much today. But how do you feel about the style change?
I wouldn't hold my breath to see it again. I would not hold my breath. It does
All my hopes are gone.
Damage, right? So you don't cheese just stun lock people. There's I believe it's 3 seconds. It's been a long time since those patch notes, but if Maldamba stuns you, you can't be stunned by Maldamba again for a window of time. And again, I believe it's 3 seconds, but you do still do that additional damage, right? And I believe it's about 700 or so per snake toss that you hit. So the more you yeet, the more you can get that DPS out there into the field.
Well, it's an even playing field so far. 1-1. Map number 3 is on its way. Maybe we get to see another Yeet Snake, but I really, really doubt it, especially on Frozen Guard. It's a little bit different of a map. And again, when you ban Serpent Beach, you ban Stone Keep, you ban Bright Marsh, once you have to deal with it, you've gone to the other 2 maps that complete the 5, I want to say quote-unquote normal maps. So you're going to Frozen Guard. Skeppy is back for this one for Heating Up. I think the first 2 games he was having some issues with his PS4, so now he's going to be able to come into it, kind of refill the shoes that Destro Knight was holding on to.
Definitely. And hopefully he's got the seat warmed up for him. The sticks are hot, heating up. 1-1 here in this set. A roster that certainly has a lot of expectations, at least from my point of view. I think you could agree as well. A lot of big names on this roster. We've seen a lot of 3-0s today, and if I looked at the teams playing, this would have been one of the 3-0s that I would have bet my life on, but I'd be dead if I made that bet at this point because we're 1-1 now. Ban's not really changing up significantly here. Torvald will still be the first grab, but again, Skeppy's back in the mix here, and that's probably the biggest improvement they could have made from game 2 to 3.
You are not welcome here!
Torvald's still going to be incredibly solid. I think so far as a frontline pick, again, he's not going to do it all on his own, but like you said last time, while it's kind of showing your hand saying, look, we're going for a Torvald bubble build, you're also still able to say, well, are we going to go for Talus? Are we going to pull out the Sky that we saw earlier today? Is it going to be a Victor? There's no telling who Invictus is actually trying to drive this into.
And they do take the Genos, I believe, just to get it away from Soldier Bot. So I don't know if this is a thing on console and a widespread scale, or if this is just a Soldier Bot thing. But if you bring out the Torvald Genos combo, normally those are the 2 champions that would pocket somebody else. But if we're seeing more Binary Star, left. And then we might see Genos being the one getting pocketed here. Talus taken
I can get us
has
out
been
if you're
solid
alive.
for these guys. I'm
Stay
not
close
super
and
in love with
follow my
Talus
lead.
personally, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he has been relatively successful, and it is a very good thing to get away from a team that is trying to run a Torvald pocket build.
The Mance himself, he hasn't been picked up the entire day. He was banned out a lot
Every
of
game.
earlier. Koga
Almost every game in the first set.
pretty much banned out all day. Now
Yeah.
going 9th pick. Is that even like that's like some weird Makoa kind of thing to happen?
It's just like it's time to pull it out. You know, whatever it is, now is the time for it. My question is it going to be Claws or is it going to be SMGs? SMGs started off as the style for both PC and console, but we haven't really seen it much since it came to be, the Claws becomes more meta, but again, tracking is sort of like the way and the truth and the light on console, if you will, right? They like their hit scan tracking champions. I'm curious to see if he goes for Claws.
Well, it's 1-1. Seems like we have another binary star Genos in the game. Potentially could be Luminary still. You never know with the console boys, but Invictus is going to be bringing that to the table. A lot that could be going on as they try to take the lead over here. But Skeppy's back for heating up. So the casters are going to be able to take us through this game. Who can win Frozen Guard and who will get the leg up for the set?
And here we go. On to Frozen Guard and the potential damage Genos coming out again. Now I feel like I've seen it 100 times. I'm not surprised to see it again.
You're not surprised at all. You're a veteran at this
Right,
point.
I'm a
You're
veteran
like,
to see it.
duh, binary star Genos.
There
like,
he is.
Change it up, dude.
I know. Just seen it way too many times.
Ugh.
We do see, I love the,
Played
this is
out.
something we haven't seen yet today, is the Torvald Koga stack. And, that's something that has been, considered very strong for a good bit of time, but not something we've seen come out just yet. But we are finally going to be able to get a look into it here with Ghost taking over the Koga.
Yeah, and raw talent wins Embrace and criminal record. Really wins Embrace, criminal record, the two more important things. Surprised he hasn't gone for much harsh training because that health does matter on Koga. Even if you're playing around with an extra second that you could stay in the claws before you die, or just a little bit of extra wiggle room before you can switch back out of the claws and go into your shadow travel. Not shadow travel, excuse me, shadow step, and avoid that damage. But this is really this is what it's for. It's to kind of be like, I hate to say it, it looks very unsophisticated when you really do watch it.
Sure.
And this is what you're, when you're kill cam, you go back and you see how you died. This is what it looks like. And this is why it's such a frustrating thing to play against, because it's just like, whoa, what is this, man? What's
Lots of
happening?
auto attacks.
Is this a shooter? Is this like a Wolverine sim? Like, I don't know.
But, he did his job there. He took out most of the Talus health on that point, and Nara had been on it, climbing that percentage point there for heating up, but the Koga was able to help push them off, doing so much damage, able to get his team in the driver's seat on this map, and just one touch away from taking the first point here on Frozen Guard. Overtime ticking away. SoldierBot is going to try to get himself into a position to do some damage. You have the Genos, you have the Saris in front of you, but he's going to instead blink himself out, give himself a little bit of healing, but no need, because TKO Ghost has found himself a triple kill on the back end. Quadra kill make it. I mean,
I'm not going to count that. I'm sorry.
No.
It's
little KS on
If I
his
didn't get a
part.
pizza kill every time I played with this, every single moment, the opportunity to clean up somebody. I mean, the chances of hitting 845 health onto somebody and being the last blow, especially when you're shooting at like two times every second, it's pretty high. I mean, it's like half somebody's health.
It's an asterisk quadra. That's what we like to call it, an asterisk quadra. Doesn't, it's there, but potentially doesn't count. You do see the Inara blocking herself off from that Koga, deciding, I don't want to deal with you right now, please go away. And heating up, finding themselves a little bit of respite, finally pushing back Invictus, finding themselves a little bit of breathing room here, and this is kind of where you expect to find your breathing room on Frozen Guard, coming around that first point, going under that first underpath. That's where you're going to be able to make your stands if you're on defense.
Yeah, the difference here with the way that this is being played with TKO Ghost is he's so much more brazen because of the lifesteal component that he's got. So the more damage that he's doing, the more he can actually sustain himself. So he's kind of got to get out there. The Zen had his moments of being out there and then going into the below, backing away, but he's got to do this. And if he doesn't, things aren't going to work. And that's a good time to use the ult. You get the shield. The shield may be a little early because obviously you are damage immune in the ult. But unfortunately, SoldierBot just able to patient that one out, and TKO Ghost goes down yet again. Dave, the theme was, on Zen, it worked around one, but it kind of stopped working towards the end. Is that going to be the same situation here?
It could be, and what I did notice there, despite falling, he was able to bait out the Dread Serpent. That Damba thought that he he was going to follow up on that kill and drop him down low, but the Damba uses the Dread Serpent, gets that out of the way, and it obviously didn't end up hitting anybody, so finds a little bit of some utility there. The ultimate coming out from the Inara didn't look like it connected. She is going to wall herself off, get herself a little breathing room here at the moment. On the backside, you do see the Leon going very low. She's not going to get dropped just yet. SoldierBot getting in the face of that Torvald. Torvald's going to fall. Now the other Shutter dropped back onto Woosh. SoldierBot doing tons of damage here. He's trying to get the triple kill for himself onto the Ashe, and he does. So he's able to kind of answer back onto that Koga. Is the Talus here. So Invictus unable to get too much of a push, heating up, slowing things down, getting themselves a defensive stance.
And Skeppy is back. I mean, I guess the thing that, you know, we weren't really paying attention to is that Skeppy was actually back in this matchup, and feeling very confident on Leon, one of our more premier damage dealers in all of the Paladins console scene. But what's, you know, this is a replay that is going to tell the story of the win scenario for Invictus, and I think Heating Up are willing to give them this. Very much like, I mean, you don't give somebody Torvald Koga on accident. You know they can take it, but I think they're just willing to have such an isolated moment where they could succeed, and if they just prevent that one moment, know that they'll win the game. That seems to be the confidence that they're approaching this matchup.
And the Leon also matching the Koga on damage. You know, if you're gonna have a Torvald pocketing a Koga, you're going to need somebody who's able to either kill the Koga immediately or match up with him on damage. And the Leon, Skeppy, finally coming back here for his team, is able to do just that. We do see a similar start to last game where the Inara gets on the point. It is what you would expect her to do. So 27% in climbing, but Koga not missing a shot right now. Double kill, could be a triple kill. It is a triple kill. He's getting in behind the entire team, and nobody's able to touch him at the moment. Finally gets tossed over the head, but to no effect. He finds himself another quadra kill in this game. It's rare enough to see one, but two right off the bat.
Dave, no, it's not. No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. He gets it every round. This is what Koga Claus does. That's why I didn't give him credit. I love you. Doing a great job, TKO Ghost, but Dave, get used to seeing triples and quadra kills from this
I guess that's true. No, that was the point you were making.
That is exactly the point.
But that one was a little different in that he did a lot of the damage on himself, whereas the last time he cleaned it up, few last hits there. But I guess I should get used to seeing these Koga Quadras because it happens all the time now, apparently.
So strong. I mean, it's such a good talent. It's such a good kind of style for him, and it's so aggressive.
All right.
All right. So I think the point is being made, and is he going to actually get another Quadra? Calamity steals it.
All right.
But now you know what we're talking about.
I'm going to take off the headset and go home now because everything I've said that surprises me is apparently not surprising.
No, you know, the console League 2 is so different in the way that it operates around the PC, and you may not see it as efficiently, but one of the things, if you've been keeping up with them, is the conversations around Koga and this Claw build, that it is unstoppable, that we need it not just for PC. PC, okay, it's bad, but you can contain it. For console, we need this nerfed and changed now. That was one of the larger outcries in the scene, because it does that, and there's really no fine way to maneuver around that happening, actually. I mean, you look at SoldierBot, great player. I mean, he can half a second and he's just dead. He's like, what do I do? What do I do? What does he do?
The TKO Ghost just continuing to put out pressure, and there doesn't seem to be anything Heating Up can do, at least at the moment. They are getting zoned out of their base, but TKO Ghost gonna, here comes the, but he's able to dodge out of the Inara ultimate, so good job there, utilizing that kit so well, but he's just gonna keep pouring out the damage, finds himself one onto the con. Now Damba is his target, Damba going very low as well, and Heating Up is just such on the back foot. They need to utilize this and the Inara wall, and they're not able to. Another multi-kill, double kill in this case, coming out for TKO Ghost before finally falling to SoldierBot, so you know, the Koga just continues to roll in this sense.
They could find a way where this could just be a little bit less dominant. And if you can't do it, I mean, I understand calling the bluff, or the buff, but if you can't do it, you just got to ban it. And that's what teams do. And I like the confidence, but they're not backing it up with their play, especially subbing in Skeppy here. Maybe that was the confidence boost that they didn't really need, that, you know, they somehow got, but it just hasn't worked. They haven't been able to handle this. It's just too dominant of a pairing, and I don't blame them either. It's just incredibly difficult.
And he did actually bait out the Enlightenment there, so not only able to clean up kills, but he's able to get ultimates out of other people as well, and the Leon just unable to deal with this Koga that's getting in his face, and the Moldamba is now going to get zoned back into his base. The Talus is the new target. Damba is going to go low. He's going to try to go toe-to-toe here with this Koga, but there's no way that you can when he's doing as much damage as he is. The Talus trying to utilize that teleportation, get in and out. Ooh, the Koga does fall on the back end, so that is a big loss here for Invictus Gaming, heating up in a great position at least to slow things down here and defend this payload.
Let's take a look at the items, because this is not going to be a successful push. The benefit of this is it's on Frozen Guard, it's not Bright Marsh, so you can't just finish the game fast enough. If it was, this game probably would have already been over. But what I am seeing heating up the side is that we're going just for our cauterizes, we're going for our wreckers, we're not doing anything like Haven to make sure that this, you know, we just shut this Koga down eventually. They're playing normal Paladins. They're saying eventually we're going to take some huge L's in the beginning, but we can win a point fight with an Inara Damba. We could just out-sustain them.
Right.
Haven't seen that happen yet, but this is the round it's got to.
It does need to come out here, and you did see, to no one's surprise, I think Koga was 25,000 damage above the Leon, where the Leon on the first half of this map, Skeppy was doing a great job of matching that Koga damage, which is not an easy thing to do. You know, that's probably more of an outlier than not matching the Koga damage. Probably more common to not match it than it is to match it. But a little bit different of a start here. The Inara does not go immediately to the point, and instead getting very aggressive here into this Invictus lineup. Torvald going to be potentially the first to drop here, and he is. So TKO Ghost to Torvald. Two big losses here early on for Invictus Gaming. Sorrow answers one back onto that Talus, who's been really annoying getting in their face. So Sorrow backing off here, trying to get his death not to be staggered with the rest of his team, but Invictus able to find some respite, find some success early on in this game, taking out that Koga Torvald.
Yeah, not much that they even used to do it as well, but the problem is Invictus haven't used really anything, and there's the convergence. Sorrow finds it off of that, and the Koga has been unleashed. She's got the bubbles back. They tried to take away the guy who had been giving him all of that pressure as well, but Calamity is back first because he dies first, and now the snowball will go in the favor of Invictus. They even have a Hyper Beam in case anyone gets close. There's the Dread Serpent to try to just buy some time, and they find Ghost, but is it enough, Dave? Is it enough?
And you have the Inara ultimate coming out, going to stun up Calamity, so that Hyper Beam is offline, at least for a moment, but now it's the Talus trying to get in, but she gets stunned up. The Inara wall coming out, blocks off the Hyper Beam, the Enlightenment coming out, but doesn't find its target, so Calamity, other Shudder, adding one, both on themselves, so heating up, down 3 members here. Invictus able to slow things down. Now it's just a Khan trying to get a touch on this point, but he's not able to. Overtime gonna tick away. Invictus finding their 3rd point here on Frozen Guard.
And at this point, I'm pretty convinced. Well, there's a 99% convincing rate of me right now where I feel Invictus have won this game already. It just doesn't feel like, I mean, that was a perfect scenario. You get your Torvald, he's down. Now the Koga is no longer just augmented to the point where he's unstoppable. And you're fine. You almost win that fight, but even then, somehow you mismanage it to the point where Heating Up are able to come back. Invictus are able to come back and still take the point. That, to me, is the most demoralizing thing. They did what they wanted to do, and they still lost. But Heating Up still don't have full Cauterized 3s and Wreckers 3s yet. So if they can get those items on board, Dave, it will get easier. If Skeppy gets, Cauterized 3, he's got Caut 1 and Wrecker 2.
Right.
I mean, this is a very odd choice. SJP doesn't have Cauterized 3. There's literally no Cauterized 3s on any of their teams, and it's because maybe they're not thinking Where to Guap is doing enough healing. But let's look at the healing charts here and see if it is actually coming into play. 114, it's doing the same amount of healing as anyone else. It's a very interesting choice item-wise. It's maybe why it's delaying their success.
And I think what Heating Up can take away, at least at the moment, is they did very well on the defense last time.
Yeah.
This is a very defendable map, so you have time to get those credits, get those items up and online if you are heating up. So just stay calm, try to keep doing what you have been doing. You find one there onto the Koga. This is a very winnable fight now for them if they choose to push it, but electing not to utilize too much, just keep things stalled out here underneath the bridge. Woosh doing a great job of tanking up all the damage, as Inara should. Soldier Bot dropping one, Skeppy dropping one as well. So Invictus, now we see the heating up defense coming into play. Invictus a little bit slowed, a little bit on the back foot now with 45 seconds left to go.
And I think this will be a valuable moment for Heating Up and Invictus, because I think Invictus, they don't have full ults. I mean, they'd like to push, but they've won every point fight, so why would you be afraid about going to another point fight? I think they feel that's an advantage for them. So they're okay holding on to this. Heating Up can't win anyway, so they want to hold on to it. They want another go at it. They want to charge their ults, and they want to make sure they get their tier 3s online, which now the ults are charged, and it becomes the game of, do you use yours, or do I use mine? Or do we both use it? That's what they're trying to figure out. Who's going to go first? And TKO Ghost making a nice route on that left side. Sir James Parker is under trouble. There's the battle shout as well.
And you got to be careful here. The Inara ultimate does come out. Seismic Crash does catch a few on the back end. So you have Toxic Ghost, Torvald, Koga down again. This is what we saw in that first fight that went so well for Heating Up. And it looks like things are going to go well for them again here. Only one member left alive there on the point here. Two, rather, for Invictus Gaming. But Ash is going to drop. Soon to follow is the Geno. So Heating Up replicates that first point fight, or that second point fight rather, so well. Drops the Torvald, drops the Koga, and then knows right then and there, now it's time to go. Now we fight.
And it is a 3-3. These fights have been longer than our entire first sets, I believe. These games have just been so interesting and so engaging. But the win condition here is, can you really get rid of TKO Ghost? I mean, 17 kills on his end, and the 14 eliminations coming from Mime Calamity. Word of Guap has not been cauterized at all.
No.
So he's going to continue to do well. But finally, tier 3s have shown up. Will this be the difference? Will this fight shift towards Heating Up as a result of that now?
And Heating Up has, and this is something we talked about towards the end of last game, but Heating Up has so many good utility ultimates that are still up and available, so many ways to lock down the Torvald if they need to, ways to lock down that Koga if they need to. So they played that last fight very well, not utilizing too much, just the Seismic Crash coming out to win them that point, and going back to their first strategy of putting the Inara on the point right away. So starting things off very hot, very fast here for Heating Up, and this Talus utilizing the mobility very well, but he finds two people that you don't want to find around the corner. So Torvald, Ghost wrapping up one kill for them each, but Ghost does fall on the back end. Calamity dropping the Leon, so a little bit of back and forth here from both teams.
Really weird fight there from SoldierBot. Maybe that's been the issue. He hasn't gotten his rhythm. I mean, there was absolutely no way. He didn't have his Rune of Travel to be able to reset his cooldowns. He had no way to get back. Shutter goes for a backwards through time and space, maybe trying to help onto the map, knowing that Talus was coming through. Calamity does go down. SoldierBot with a double kill, but here's TKO Ghost. But maybe that was enough. SoldierBot gets in with the true power, and that seemed to maybe make the difference, 63%. And if they zone out, this game is theirs.
This is absolutely about can they zone or not, and Invictus doesn't have any time to waste here. They need to get in, and they need to get a touch on this point. The Ash is going to be the first one to arrive. So the wall blocking off a couple of the members. You have the Genos, you have the Koga up in front of you, but Whoosh is going very low here, and Nara is not who you want to lose at the beginning of these fights here. That's who you need to contest this point. Overtime starting to tick away. The Inara drops. Sorrow getting the kill on that one, but TKO Ghost starting to heat up here in this fight, and Invictus does end up coming back, is able to contest that point. You know, the overtime was ticking away. The Ash dash in there, able to get them the overtime, and they end up taking it after the Koga starts to come online.
Yeah, the Koga was pretty much just unstoppable there. They tried to just, call the bluff of, did I say call the bluff? Yeah, call the bluff. Call the bluff. Yeah. Call the bluff of the Koga and the Torvald. It just didn't work out. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't beat that if they do what they're supposed to do, and they certainly did. And you got to give props to Calamity. You got to give props to TKO Ghost. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're going to play it perfectly, but they certainly performed, and that was just an unstoppable force.
And that's something we talked about. You know, you can have the best stack of two champions on each other, but if you can't hit your shots, it doesn't matter. But that is going to be game number 3. So to break that down, we're going to send it back to the desk. Here's Gore and Pretty Hair.
Definitely being able to pull themselves ahead. Koga did Koga things, I think is the best way to describe that one. We'll come back to the desk as we go through. I mean, that was kind of TKO's game, right? It was very similar to, I want to say, the beginning of Frog Isle, where he just comes out and he is wiping the floor with Heating Up. That was the performance we just got to see again.
A lot of good moves and counter moves from both squads there, and Koga was that disease, right, that needed to be solved. He was, causing internal bleeding, hemorrhaging, depression all across the battlefield. And they tried to go for the symptom, or rather, instead of going for the symptoms, they tried to treat the cause, which was killing Torvald. That didn't quite work. I loved that final team fight, though. That was awesome stuff for the True Power, just to keep it going as long as it possibly was. But at the end of the day, the big thing that was kind of an oopsie was the failed zones on the other side. And you can't even really call it a failed zone when it's a true power that comes streaking across the map. You can't really stop that. What you could have stopped, right, is as a Gnar, right, where that Koga and that Ashe came through, and I'm going to try to paint this picture here as best I can. There's that little wooden wall, and there's like the little wood tower on Frozen Guard as well. As a Gnar, Woosh tried to turn around and go wall the little door to the point. You can wall from that wood wall to the tower, you know what I mean, and cut that off as a Gnar, but he tries to go for kind of the fancier play there that ends up not working out. Everybody gets back into and onto the objective as well. And it's that same team fight that we've seen 100 times on Frozen Guard at that point on. There was a way that I think Heating Up come away with that game there. They had the opportunity presented to them thanks to Soldier Bot, but couldn't lock it out.
Well, you can look at the damage, 144,000. That damage is brought to you by TKO Ghost, but it's sponsored by Calamity there on the Torvald. That bonus, I want to say, coming from him constantly shielding, making sure he can get in, get out, and apply all of that bonus damage made it so that TKO could look as good as he did, which is the 19 and 12. And that's why at the very beginning of the round, when you are able to get one or the other, it kind of solved the problem for you. Yeah, TKO without Torvald could still do damage, but it was way less of an impact than what we had seen on every other round where they were both alive. You're
at least killable at that point, and that's something that Koga, you know, as potent as Dragon Fangs is, you still only have that 1900 HP. You're still damaging yourself. I believe 150 DPS on this patch, and it's going to be reverted back to 200 health per second for being in the Dragon stance. So it's it's an equation that is very, very balanced by Torvald being there, and he is a lot of the root cause of what that problem is that Koga causes.
Well, Invictus are now up by 1 game, pretty much narrowly taking every single one. Each one has been 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. First one went to Heating Up, but these last two have been Invictus controlling it most of the time.
It's going to be our first best of 5.
Now they're going to be going to Split Stone Quarry. So longer range. Wonder if we're going to see another binary Star Genos. Admittedly, if you're looking for hit scan chunking damage, he kind of hits all the marks.
That's with Skeppy being back too that they lose that game, right? So it just goes to show the impact of Torvald. Koga TKO Ghosts rips up that first game, and that appears to be where he's most comfortable, right? He does a great job in game number 1 on the Xin Torvald combo as well. So whether it's banning out Torvald, whether it's picking out away early, I don't know what it's going to be. Heating Up, sticking to the Pip Grok combination here. Kind of weird little ban phase that isn't really, it's not really making more sense to me the more it happens, given what each team has been picking.
Honestly, what they needed was this first pick, I think. Being able to kind of scoop the Torvald away, be able to go into that strategy where, hey, you didn't ban Talus, you didn't ban Koga, like you haven't banned Zen, you didn't ban any of the things we can use to try and make this work. Koga, I think, is the best of the 3, just being able to have that wall climb can close that gap, but I mean, any front line, I think, here is going to feel good. But you get the Saracenara combo on the other side.
Looks like they might just be wanting to
keep up.
Flip-flop comps here. So far, that's what we're seeing a little bit. Saris and Ara were not paired together last game, but you know, it's something that can be looked at here. Absolutely, Saris is a great option to heal up Nara, and Invictus just elect to bulk up in response to Koga trying to come through.
I understand it. Don't like it. Not a big fan of triple frontline, but I mean, you get Inara, you get Khan, you get Makoa. You have plenty of damage there still in the Khan and the Makoa. Inara going to be able to stay alive. Saris can heal them all. Concept works. It's going to stay tanky. Koga's chunking isn't going to chunk them as much, but I am never a big fan of seeing that on a team. To me, it's winning, but it can win for the wrong reasons in my eyes.
Triple tank?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little bit more of it's a pacifist approach to the game of Paladins. You can kind of just like AFK on the objective longer than the enemy can. Koga, while not designed to be a tank shredder, it's certainly not a bad thing to run. It's a lot of DPS and it's not hard to hit, especially on those big, slow-moving targets. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Heating Up certainly have their work cut out for them.
Well, doing whatever they can. Invictus are leading the set. They only need this map to be able to win it all and take down what is probably the most powerhouse team we've seen. But to do that, it's going to be Dave and Rainday going through the game.
Thank you very much, Gore, getting into game number 4 here. And Evan, you saw the Torvald Koga on one team last game, and now they're basically going to flip it to the other side. So are they going to be able to find the same level of success, do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, SoldierBot started out this binary star Genos. It's only appropriate that his team ends with it, but he's now got the Koga as well. I could see some teammates, you know, I see some teams getting pretty frustrated. I've definitely seen the Koga Claws bring out the worst in me as a player when they're against me, and so it's only natural that he would want a little bit of revenge. He would want to say, run that back, and he's certainly doing that.
He's playing aggressive right off the bat, jumping into all of the Invictus lineup. He's going to be able to get himself out. You see in the bottom left there, you got the Genos healing, you got the Damba healing, and you have the Torvald shield on you. They're going to protect him. They're going to pocket him this entire game because they saw what that did to him last game, and as I say that, he falls. So SoldierBot, that's a big loss right there to start things off here. Invictus off to a hot start, being able to drop that Koga. 1 kill is enough to get them a 66% in climbing advantage on this point.
My initial thought was that Whoosh wasn't really giving a lot of the bubbles the same way we saw Calamity just constantly on TKO Ghost last game. And maybe it's the angle, but you could tell the way SoldierBot went inside and then came out again and then went up and then went down again. He was kind of in his way and jumping a little bit. He was like, where's my bubble? That's kind of what I was getting from his movement and his play. And he ended up dying without the protection. That was something we almost never saw happen with the Calamity. So as much as we joke like, oh, Koga got a quadra kill, Calamity and TKO Ghost performed perfectly. They executed it the way it needed to.
I mean, you have to play it right for it to work out as well as it did, is kind of what you're saying there, and I completely agree, but we have seen Koga fall twice very early on in this game, and again, another point that you made is very different from what we saw last game. The Koga was able to outlast a lot of these initial fights, and when he did drop, that's when heating up would, you know, really put the pressure on. They would say, all right, the Koga's gone, the Torvald's gone, now we're going to go, but yeah, right now it seems like the Koga's just always gone, and he is again, as the Saris drops him to start off this fight. You see lots of ultimates coming out, the Dome Shield out here from the Barrack, but the Barrack is going to get walled off. The Damba ultimate is going to fear them all on different places, but not able to clean up the kills there on the backside of it. They do pick up a couple, but Toxic Ghost, or TKO Ghost rather, is going to clean up the Damba on the back end of this fight. So heating up, losing their healer here, Invictus getting pushed back.
Yeah, and they're probably going to just patient this out a little bit. The Makoa is coming back with full health, so they need the heal, but going in as 5 is going to be the key. And no, they're going to hit the gas pedal right now. SJP getting stunned out. He can stay alive. He's got that fail-safe reset and the original dash that he's got. So 2 opportunities to get back into a corner and get healed up again. But I'm Calamity on the Makoa going in the backside. SJP may not know this is happening. And in fact, I don't know if Calamity knew SJP was there too, and he's not even taking shots. He's actually moving back into a position closer to his team.
So doing a little bit of a loop-de-loop there, getting himself in an interesting position, not utilizing the position that you've given yourself and then getting back, but Invictus not in a great spot to provide any sort of touches on this payload. So at least for the moment, it looks like heating up will be able to stall things out here for 25 more seconds, but you got to imagine Invictus is going to try to push at least once more, but that's going to be a really tough line to break. And some SMG shots coming out of Koga here, not something you're used to seeing very often, but this is looking like it'll be where heating up makes their stand.
And getting those bubbles a lot more. It's going to be interesting how they look to try to work that around, because there's communication issues happening between Whoosh and with SoldierBot. Calamity finds Whoosh right away, and now that Koga not nearly as deadly. Calamity, though, facing off against him, but a little bit of pressure from TKO Ghost as well, and SoldierBot with the lifesteal able to clean that one up. They force it through time and space from Skeppy, so they're getting an ult here at least. And SJP may be forced a Dome Shield if he wants to hold this angle right now.
Dome Shield is not going to come out just yet, as you see SoldierBot picking up a double kill, potentially a triple kill. He does help on that 3rd kill there, but finally at the end of the day, able to slow things down there. Not going to quite get cleaned up at the end of the last game, but finally saw some of that pressure coming out on the side of heating up to slow things down, to stall Invictus out right where they were. So I guess that's what you expect to see here on Splitstone Quarry, but heating up doing a good job of it.
Yeah, 7-3-1. I mean, things are going well statistically. 58,000 damage. Skep right around 43. And SJP keeping up. He's a very high-intensity, high-damage-oriented tank player. So all those signs are pointing in the direction of heating up. But Invictus still are the ones who captured the objective. So Calamity with the Ancient Rage. Inara barely charged up, but close to charged up to the Seismic Crash. that other Shudder going to get his overpower mid-round if this starts to last as well. And this is scary. I don't think this is in the clear yet. SoldierBot has to get an early kill, and if he doesn't, this will start to turn towards Invictus.
And remember, we did see SoldierBot fall. I think he was the first blood in this round, and that's really where Invictus found their space to go in, and he could be it again if he ends up falling on the back end of this ultimate. He is going to do some damage in the meantime. He's actually not going to fall, at least just yet. No, he does. He falls on the back end. The con picks him up. Now, if you are heating up, you're going to have to fall back a little bit. Invictus is going to put on the gas pedal here. TKO goes, doing tons of damage. They are going to claim the initial advantage, at least on this point, and we saw it on the back end of a Koga death as well, using the ultimate to get through on the backline. They're not trying to take a moment off the brakes here in the con. You have the overpower coming out. Genos getting tossed away, but not going to fall. And now the respawns start to come in through time and space. Going to come through, not going to connect on anyone. You see 96% and climbing here on Invictus. This fight is going to decide whether or not Heating Up grabs himself another point or not. You get a 1-for-1 trade on both sides, at least to start things off here.
96%. They're battling back. A little bit of time as we still have this pressure being applied. Overtime is here for Invictus and Calamity and the rest of the squad, just patiently waiting to see if anybody challenges them. And yet again, they don't. So an interesting storyline of this game, Dave. It's not one that we see it being very common, but the reason we see it happening over and over again is because I think we do see all these champions just being traded back and forth. No one's really willing to take too many risks as far as stepping away from this. Everyone's gotten their chance with the Koga Torvald. It's working, not working, but they're very close fights, and no one's gotten the edge yet.
He's doing, SoldierBot right here is doing a beautiful job of utilizing his healing, utilizing those shields to at least put out as much damage as he can. He's actually not going to fall here, and he's been auto-attacking for, I think, 45 seconds straight here, just piling out damage into the Invictus lineup, finally cleaning up the Koga. Now Kana's his target, and Kana's going solo. He's going to wrap around this corner, maybe find it. The invulnerability's going to come out, and he hits a shot better than Kana's. So SoldierBot finding his stride right there, at least for a moment, on this Koga. Really just taking, I didn't see any other Heating Up members out in there. I think he was just getting healed and getting shielded, and he was able to turn the tide.
To be fair, when someone's doing that much damage, you don't really need any other team members. I mean, maybe a few just for moral support.
Sure.
You
say, hey, I'm here.
And yell, hey, great job, dude.
Right.
I like what you're doing. Oh, another kill. Awesome. You killed all 4. I love it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Makes my job a lot easier. Calamity, though. Invictus have just been playing this patient game. They've been allowing Heating Up to kind of style on them, have these moments. Yeah, we'll overextend. Yeah, you're going to chase down Where to Guap. But they just catch them in these opportunities where it feels like they shouldn't be given. It feels like Heating Up have all the style points, but Invictus are the guys who just trying what has been already proven to succeed and just doing it over and over again.
Especially here on Splitstone Quarry, they've really found their footing on these defensive sides and doing such a good job of utilizing, as you said, really finding what has worked time and time again, saying, oh, you know, I know this is the way. You got to kill the Koga first. You got to zone out this person, zone out that person. They're really finding the right way to utilize these team fights, at least on the defensive end. But yeah, if you're heating up, you got to find a way to break through these defenses. I mean, you can technically win by capping 4 points in a row, but you figure you got to find a defense to start things off, and Invictus is going to start things off with a nice double kill. Torvald, Koga, those are the two that you don't want to lose at the beginning of the fight, and the rest is going to start steamrolling through. 4 down on the side of Heating Up. 1 second left on the Torvald. 2 seconds left on the Koga. The Damba, a delayed death there. Good point. So now he has 10 seconds before he's able to come up.
And Whoosh here, you want to make sure that unfortunately he doesn't get the hook, because this is what they were worried about, the Hyper Beam, because that could push them off of contest range, but it doesn't end up happening. That's an overcommit from SoldierBot. Is he going to go down? We do have the Shell Shield. This may give him time to get healed up, but he's got to get near Where to Guap, and he doesn't need to. SoldierBot goes in trying to find the kill on his own, but he's too low, and he gets traded out by the support. Calamity, as a result of that lack of pressure, now gets 2 on his own, and it's a 3-1 heading into the final point fight. Man, what a change in pace.
It was a huge change in pace, and you know that's where we saw it stalled out exactly in the same spot in the last round, and Invictus finally realizing, hey, if we can get this Koga and Torvald dead, we're going to win every single fight that we can. We saw it to start off that initial final push, and then to finally push the payload through. The 2 people who you saw die, the Torvald and the Koga. So doing a great job of prioritizing targets and getting things done.
And I mean, I think, you know, it does go clunk a little bit. These lineups looked a little odd to us, but, you know, they're clearly trying what they feel most comfortable with. And it's been the day where they go for the binary star Genos. They don't try to add a little luminary. They don't try to go for more traditional DPS instead. They like sticking with this. They believe it works, and you got to stick to your guns. But right now, you've stuck to your guns in your lineup. Your adjustments have to be made in the game. And there it is, an early Dread Serpent, but that's reactionary after the Talon's True Power threatens to take one down. The other Shutter already finds Soldier Bot. Now Heating Up are in a weird spot.
Yeah, you got to watch out now if you're heating up, because you do lose your Koga, which is what we've been touching on the entire time. You lose the Koga, you potentially lose the fight here. So heating up, starting to get swiped. The other Shutter doing a great job here on this con, utilizing that kit to find himself a double kill. And now if you're heating up, you just zone. You need to keep, if you're Invictus rather, you just need to zone. You got to keep heating up, put on the back foot. You got 78, 81% and climbing here. Misses the hook. Oh, but he does get hooked off of through time and space coming out, but he's not going to find anyone. I'm Calamity going to try to take out this Barrack in the meantime, but he's a lonely Barrack here on this point, and everyone's looking at him. Overtime going to start ticking away here in just a moment if they cannot get a touch. And it looks like Invictus is going to be able to clean things up here. 3-1 on Splitstone Corey to take the win, but not before Damba gets a touch. But it looks like it's going to be too little too late. Invictus Gaming taking Splitstone Quarry and taking the series here after a lot of back and forth that we saw.
Yeah, and we saw Soldier Bot not dive on there. If there's ever going to be a champion that's going to dive on there and 1v5, it's going to be Koga. The Damba gives the effort, but Soldier Bot, I think at that point, realized the writing was on the wall. And it was just not going to go their way.
So not finding the same success that the Torvald Koga had in the Frozen Guard game. And you're saying, you don't play it right, it's not going to work out. It's not an easy W key, or in this case, left stick forward.
There's a little more to it at this level, especially when the team who just did it right is the team you're playing. If you're trying to do something that's like, I just did that to you, I know what you're doing. I think that was a little bit overconfident. That was a little bit my impression of the set, but overall, a lot of good plays from both teams alongside.
Both teams coming up huge, but to further break down the game and the series, we're going to send it back to the desk. Here's Gormizer and Pretty Hair.
I mean, so much that could have gone right, so much that went wrong there if you're heating up, and surprisingly enough, Invictus are the team that takes the set. Again, going back, I think, to what you were saying earlier, if you had told me heating up that this was going to go past 3 games and that heating up was going to lose when it went past 3 games,
I would say, what the hell, Bobby?
That would have caught me completely. Yeah, no, that makes just no sense.
Not the way you expect it to play out, but I like the point that Evan made, is that was the team that just ran that thing. So when it's very clear that it's being run against them now, they've probably at this point, being that they've run it, probably successfully and non-successfully, said, okay, what didn't this work against? When we fell flat, what made us fall flat, right? So they pivot to a nice little triple tank composition. I don't really like
every scrim we've ever lost.
Right. It's clear that Whoosh 0-6 on the Torvald is either uncomfortable on Torvald or just, not having a great day. I don't like the fact they've got Sir James Parker, 108,000 damage on this Barrack, but he's on Barrack. He's still on Barrack. How are you going to put the 2-time console world champion on Barrack? Let him play a ruckus. Let him play something he can take over the game with. You know what I mean? I will never advocate for, carry players playing Barrack. I'll barely advocate for any players playing Barrack. But SJP is not somebody I want sitting 2-5 on Barrack at the end of the day.
And, I mean, if you're looking at those stats, you still see Koga doing a ton of damage. There's still a lot of damage on the side of heating up. It just came down to the fact that tanky squad could handle it. And they just sat there. I think at one point, I don't know if Sarah's ever actually died. I looked up, had an 18 streak, went even further beyond that. I'm not sure if she died after that point, but it's just, you have 3 tanky bodies, all of which that are essentially undying. If they do die, they just fill in with someone else. And it's all kind of where to Guap in the background does get really good convergences, but most of it is just using that heal. That's where his utility was. Nara, look at Khan. They go from nothing to full.
And it's not a great draft from heating up. Torvald Koga is fine. It works, right? The thing that I don't like, I don't know, it's first of all Barrack for SJP, but I don't know that I really like the Skeppy Genos either, right? Yeah. I don't know that that's the way. They don't really have any great champions to shield the 3 tanks, or to shred the 3 tanks that are on the other side, so it falls a little bit flat for me.
And when it comes down to it, Invictus, I'm going to put them in this perfect area where they just took down heating up. I would say that as far as you can go for a team freshly formed, even if you all have a couple of players that have been around the block for quite a while, this is the perfect case scenario, right? You just took down some of the best players in the world, usually what people would say are maybe the top 5 that you could ever form a team. But as it is now, I mean, that's going to be it for that set. We have another one coming up pretty soon after this. But until then, we're going to take a quick break.